Good evening, and welcome to the Don't Tell Anyone podcast. This show is dedicated to revealing the insider techniques, hidden fruits, and closely guarded secrets that top producers use but rarely share. If you're a modern music producer who is looking to master your craft, navigate the music industry, and discover your unique sound, you've come to the right place. Each episode will provide you with crucial insights and tips that are essential for your growth and success. So, if you are ready to take this production skills to the next level, this podcast is for you. So let's dive in. And today we have the pleasure of sitting down with the maestro behind some of the most heaviest and the most energetic beats in the EDM world. Known for pushing boundaries in electronic music, he's the creative genius behind the tracks like Surface, Boundless, For You, Take Me Home, and many more. Bangers that have dominated festivals, playlists, and honestly, my personal speaker for years. His ability to craft hard-hitting drops, unforgettable melodies, and a unique sound that instantly hooks listeners has earned him as a top spot for of the top names in the electronic music scene. I'm just beyond excited to dive deep into the mind of the Greek EDM god, the Aero Chord, legendary Aero Chord himself, the man responsible for some of my absolute favorite tracks throughout the years. Welcome to the show, Aero.
Hello, how's it going?
I'm good, man. How are you feeling?
Great, great. Energetic. Actually, the intro made me very hype. Thank you for the
Man,
kind
I
words.
absolutely feel honored to talk to you on this podcast. I mean, like, you're one of
Me
the
too.
artists who have completely changed my life.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, I just made some beats. I don't know. The rest just happened. Anyway,
Okay. My question for you is like, what are like how and when did the Aeroport project start in the first place? Like, can you walk us through the beginning of your story as to when you decided to, like pursue music as a full-time career, and what sparked your passion into music?
yeah. So I was studying. I was in school, university, for programming actually. And I was listening to a lot of music at the time, like everything, dubstep, or actually, it was progressive house mostly, and then some hardstyle. Then electro was really big, like Zed, stuff like that. Um, so I was listening to all that stuff, and then out of nowhere came Skrillex, and I heard Scary Monsters, and I was like, I can't believe my ears right now. What is even happening? I've never heard stuff like this. I've never heard these types of sounds. Like, changed everything. Um, and I think that was like, I mean, I started producing when I was like 13, but I was slowly, getting better and better and better, trying to like make house music. And then I heard Skrillex around 2012 or 11 when he came out. I think it was 11. And I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. I started experimenting with dubstep. And anyway, I kept making music, basically different genres, and it got to a point where I was like, I think what I'm making sounds as good as what I'm hearing from the bigger artists like Knife Party, Skrillex, maybe Pegboard Nerds. Like, I was listening to a lot of different stuff at the time. And I was like, it sounds good enough to maybe release. And then I was like, okay, how do we release? And then, I came up with the brand, the name. Then I made the logo. And then I uploaded my first remix on YouTube, which was a remix of Ausla track, like noise controllers track. Um, yeah, that was the start. I think the date here is the first track, is that track. Um, No, not I think. I'm sure the date is that. I was just trying to remember if it's something else actually. But yeah. So that's how it started. Started uploading on YouTube and the rest. Yeah.
Like, what are your some of your other areas of interest, like except producing music? Like, what else do you like when you're not doing
Uh,
music?
like currently or in the past? Like currently, right?
Currently, yes, of course.
Yeah, currently. Well, I like tattoos a lot. I like tattoos. I like cars. I like gaming. I've been playing League of Legends. I'm playing other games too, but mostly that. I like horror games. Sometimes I get into working out, sometimes I drop it. It's weird with working out. I like driving a lot, since I like cars. Um, I want to travel more, so I want to get into that more. That's basically it. And memes. I love memes. Making memes, and
Yeah,
I love memes.
I can tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so can you walk us through the story behind your album Wicked Chords and how it came about?
Yeah, so I had a few of these tracks ready. I was just making different stuff. Uh, I didn't make music for a long time, since I quit smoking weed. Um, I couldn't even open my laptop. And then my friend Rizmix actually got me to finally open it again, and I started making stuff. That was in around May this year, so like 5 months ago. Um, and I slowly started picking up old projects, making new stuff. Uh, yeah, and I started releasing. I did release some of them, and then I realized like I have so many tracks. They're all just sitting. And I was like, oh, how about I release a Halloween EP? I've never done that. I like Halloween. I used to not like Halloween or not care about it, but I've been slowly getting more and more into it, just the horror vibe and everything. I like it. So I was like, you know what? Let's do Halloween EP. Initially, it was going to be 4 tracks. And then I'm like, why don't we add those two? And then those two, and then those two. And then, oh, how about that one? And I ended up with 21 tracks. I'm like, okay, I guess I have an album. Um, yeah, different genres. Just keep it fun. So yeah, just a horror Halloween EP. Never album. Sorry, never done that. So thought it would be a great idea. It was fun. It
That
was
is
fun.
absolutely dope, bro. That is absolutely dope. What is like your favorite go-to season, spooky season go-to horror movie?
Yeah, I don't really have one because I've watched. I've basically, let's start with I've watched so many movies. Like I really watched so many movies. But I mean, if I had to go to a few, I'd say, well, I recently watched American Psycho. That was interesting. I hadn't seen it. I mean, the standards, like The Grudge, The Ring, Hostel, Silent Hill, Saw. Not all of them. Probably the first two or three, maybe four. Um, Paranormal Activity is one of my favorite movies too. Um, yeah, I have a lot in my bag, but I guess that's the main, main theme.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you been working on the album? Like,
Yeah, so as I said, I started working on May. Yeah, I started working in May on some of these tracks, and yeah, I realized like it was like start of October, I think, and I was like, I have all these tracks. How about I make more and I make them all spooky, and then I do a Halloween EP, which ended up being an album. So, theoretically you can say 5 months, but it's more like I made some in May, then I released some, then I picked it up again. Then for the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's been, like straight grind to finish the album, just making tracks, mastering, like getting the concepts together, you know.
that is
So, yeah.
that is amazing, man. What is like one track that stands out the most to you, like the one which you enjoy producing the most, the album?
Oh, yeah, it's hard. I would say probably Jonkler for sure. Jonkler. It's like
So
it's fun.
serious.
Yeah, why so serious? It's funny. I mean, the Joker from The Dark Knight is probably one of my, if not my favorite character in any movie ever. He's just like Heath Ledger is unbelievable. He's so good. Like in comparison, I watched the new Batman and I was like, what is this even? Like it just the 2008 Batman is unbelievable, The Dark Knight. Anyway, so and then the Junkler sample, that whole the meme. It was just a fun track to make, really fun. Yeah.
So, like, what are some of your favorite tracks? Some of your personal favorites from the album?
Yeah, so Jongleur, then Pyramid Head for sure because I love Silent Hill. Um, the two last ones that I'm singing on, which is Death and Nightmares. I like the Psytrance one a lot, Cypher. I like X. It's really good.
I love it too.
Yeah, it's really good. I love that track. I would say these mostly, yeah, these tracks.
What can fans expect from the album?
Oh, to be spooked.
That is amazing. How do you approach producing a track? Do you like start with a melody? Do you start with the making like drop? Like, how do you usually start? And how do you approach from producing a track from start to finish?
It's a good question. Um, I usually start with some sort of atmosphere. Like I'll pull up Omnisphere and I'll go to the atmosphere stuff, or find an ARP that's really interesting. Uh, like maybe a percussion ARP or something. Like I'll just find one interesting sound to start with, or maybe even a sample sometimes. A lot of times I already have the idea in my head completely. Like when I wrote Boundless, for example, I was hearing the track in my dream completed, and I woke up and I just wrote the track in like 4 hours or something, and it was exactly what I was hearing in my sleep. Like I had the whole track, I was hearing it in my dream, and then I just made it. It was a very weird experience. That hasn't happened since then. Just happened once. But then, yeah, I start with usually melodic stuff, a sampler, a melody, an arp, an atmosphere, and then I start adding. Like usually, then I add the snare, then I add the kick, then I add the sub or whatever, then the hats. Uh, yeah, and I always try to arrange it as I go. Like I don't leave the arrangement for later or whatever. I start with one sound, then I start arranging immediately. Like making it build up. Like already immediately, I'm thinking of the intro. Okay, I have that sound. How can we introduce it? Like filter it in, and then if you filter it in, then we need an atmosphere on top to fill up the space. Then we need some poly. Then we need an effect to start the track, stuff like that, and suddenly you have a whole intro, and then the intro inspires you to keep, and then you add the drums, and that's even more inspiring, and then a build up, and then you're like, okay, everything is ready for the drop, and then you're at the drop.
Okay, man. So, my next question is, what has been the most challenging aspect of maintaining momentum in the fast-paced electronic music world?
No, that's the hardest thing. That's the hardest thing, like hands down. There's like, I don't know, 100 new artists coming up every day, like 100 tracks blowing up every month, 100 new tracks from people that you've never heard of, and it just does this, and it like now you're on top, now you're on top, now you're on top, and it just keeps going. um and then there's people like Skrillex who just do this, and it just you know but it's generally just the hardest thing. You just have to, I guess, keep going, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, keep going. You just can't quit. That's all I know. I really don't have the ultimate answer. I just know you can't quit. If you want it, you just can't quit.
My next question is, like, how do you push through creative blocks, especially when you're like working on new stuff?
Uh I used to have creative blocks in 2018, around there, because I wanted to do other stuff, other genres, and then the whole EDM trap thing was just not inspiring to me anymore at all. That's when I did Take Me Home and stuff like that, where I branched out. I did like Moomba. Uh, to be honest, I haven't had a creative block in a very long time. I had a huge creative block last year where I couldn't even open my laptop because I was depressed and like really not okay. But uh, after I started working again, there's just no, like, I can even start with one sample and I already have a track in my mind. Like it just goes. Like I would say just try to not limit yourself, because if you go into it like, okay, now I'll make dubstep, now I'll make house. Like sometimes you might find a loop that's better for breaks or drum and bass or psytrance, and you're like, you know what, I really want to make psytrance. Just do it, and then get it out of your system, and then you can go back to whatever the original plan was. Also, that's why a lot of times I switch genres in a track, and I switch BPMs, because like, it starts off house, and I'm like, what if I find a sound and it's like, oh, this sound is good for techno, and then I'm like, what if we speed it up halfway and then it becomes techno? You know, just don't limit yourself. Just be creative, and you won't have any blocks. Just think outside the box completely. Do whatever you want to hear. Yeah.
My next question is, what has been your most unforgettable live show or festival performance and what made it special?
All of them were unforgettable, unbelievable. It's so cool to play live for people. Um, it was one festival in Canada. I don't really remember where exactly it was. I don't want to lie. But I was playing with Kashmir, Snails, Dimitri Vegas like Mike, Feed Me, maybe other people too. I don't really remember, but and we were all just backstage hanging out, and it was just so fun. The show was incredible. It was like a packed. It was a mall, I think, and they closed the mall down and made it into a festival, which was amazing. Like imagine playing a packed show, like 2,000 people inside a mall, and it's like it was incredible. It was so cool. That was my best show. Like my best performance, everything. Like just the best mix I've ever done. I finally got because I was pretty shy. At first, I couldn't even touch the mic. I was pretty shy. I finally got the courage to get up. I actually climbed on the decks, and I had the mic like this. I was like, "Who am I right now? Am I Skrillex? What's going on?" That was my best show. It was really fun. Really fun.
Can't imagine. I wish I was there. Okay, so my next question is, as a full-time producer, what does a typical day in your life look like when you're working on new music?
Yeah, I guess I'll just tell you how it was now working on this album. It was just basically I wake up in the morning. I used to get coffee at home, but then I realized that that kind of brings me down a bit. I don't want to stay home in the morning, especially if it's sunny. Like, I don't want to stay inside. So then I started going to a coffee shop that's near me. And yeah, I just go there every morning. I have my AirPods. I got new AirPods. And I just get my morning coffee, and I just listen to whatever, my own tracks, or unreleased stuff that I'm doing. That's what I mean, or other things that inspire me. Just whatever. I listen to stuff. I watch reels. I watch YouTube. Whatever. Just spend a nice morning. Just getting inspiration from random things. Everything. I could see a reel, and I'm like, oh wow, I have an idea for a track. Like that's how Jonkler happened. Like obviously, I saw the Jonkler meme, the reel, and yeah. Um, Everybody tells me I'm late because I don't have TikTok or I don't go on TikTok. They're like, "You're late to all the memes," but whatever, I don't care. Yeah, so yeah, I just get coffee, and then I'm inspired. Maybe I'll go drive around after the coffee a lot of times. I'll get a second coffee. I'll go drive around listening to music still. I like blast music in my car. Um, I'll drive around, and then I come back home, and I'm like, okay, now let's do something. And I sit down, I maybe make two, three tracks, whatever, to a point where I'm tired. And I'm like, okay, I can't take it anymore. My ears hurt. Then I'll just relax by gaming or going out, or hanging out with people, whatever. Um, then I go to bed, and then next morning, so I'll go to get my morning coffee, and I'll listen to the stuff I made yesterday. And I could take mental notes like, oh, the snare is too loud. This is like that. Change this, that. And then I come the next afternoon and I correct it. And that it just keeps going like that. That's basically it.
Okay. Do you prefer working alone in the studio or do you find inspiration when working with other people?
Yeah, I like alone. I like alone. Like when I was in the studio with Wolfgang Gardner, it was nice because we were both like just feeding off each other's energy. Um, But I like alone because you can do whatever you want in the studio. I never I don't know. I don't get really self-conscious. It's just like I don't know. It's just different when you're alone. It's just you're completely in your world, you know. But also if I'm with someone, I don't mind. It's because then I get to show off my skills a bit. But usually alone. It's just I can think more open, like more, you know. What if I put a water drop instead of a snare? Water droplet, you know, whatever.
My next question is, how do you handle feedback from fans, especially when they are attached to your older tracks but you are exploring new sounds?
No, yeah, make something like Surface. Yeah. Um, it's normal. I mean, everybody, you know, every artist has those hits where they're bigger than everything else, and it's just like that's what people know them for. Uh, it's just how it works, I guess. I don't mind it. I used to mind it a bit, but I don't mind it anymore. It's just like, oh, it's nice. They know me from this song or from this song or from that song. Also, I do actually want to make something like Surface. Actually, I do have something like Surface coming up, but I can't say too much. Yeah.
What's the most memorable or funny interaction you've had with your fans, whether online or whether in person?
Yeah, so the funniest thing that's ever happened, it was hilarious. I was playing a show and my manager was with me, my ex-manager. He was with me, and we all had the Aero Chord shirts on. I did a collab with Damascus. That's a label that does crazy designs, shirts, like a lot of stuff. So we did a collab with them for an Aero Chord shirt, and we were like a lot of us were wearing that shirt. So me and my manager had the same shirt on, that shirt, and I played the whole show, you know. And then I was at an after party, and some guy and and out of nowhere, my manager just comes up to me, and he's like, and he brought a guy with him, and he's like, okay, he points at me, he's like, okay, tell him what you just told me. And the guy just looked so confused, and he was like, oh, and I'm like, what happened? He's like, he thought I was you, and he told me great show and all that stuff. Because I mean, yeah, I get how he could get confused. I get it. It's the same shirt, you know. It's just really funny. Yeah.
My next question for you is like, as you continue to grow as an artist, are there any aspects of music production that you're still striving to improve or maybe explore?
Mix down, mix down, mix down, mix down. It's just the most annoying thing. No matter how good you think it sounds, you'll hear it again, and then you're like, "Oh, the snare is too loud. The bass is not. It has too many like low mids. The mastering is too loud, or the mastering is too quiet, or it never ever sounds completely perfect. It's very. It gets to the point where it sounds good, but I mean, because it's me, it never sounds perfect. Like, and that's the thing. You never really finish a mix down. You just abandon it. That's like a saying that mixing engineers have. Yeah.
Where do you see the future of Aero Chord, both musically, creatively, and personally in the next few years?
I have no idea. I think I'm gonna start doing some covers. You know, covers of like big songs, like pop songs or hip hop hits. Um, I think that would be a great idea. Just cover like hits with my voice and my own music underneath. Maybe more house. I think because I do like house and it's a nice sound. It's actually easy to mix down. To be honest, to be fair, compared to like trap dubstep, all that stuff, which is so much more technical. Um, I have a lot of tracks ready that are just like this. I have house. I have psytrance actually, some great tracks. I have a lot of different genres, but yeah, just you know whatever inspires me. Actually, I'll just say that.
Okay. What are some of your bucket list things that you would love to do in life?
Ah, I do want to visit like every, destination that's like a big vacation thing, um like islands and stuff, like how Hawaii, like stuff like that. I do want to visit all these little islands or whatever. I want to go to Japan. I do want to see Tokyo. Um, I do want to like have a very nice car, maybe two or three, whatever. Um, I think that's mostly it. I don't have too much. Like anything I want to do, I try to actually do it. I don't, so.
Uh, can you like tell us a bit of backstory about your track Surface? How it came about? What
Oh
were the
yeah, yeah.
inspirations?
Yeah, it's called Surface because of a track of a map in GoldenEye, the James Bond game, GoldenEye from Nintendo 64. There's a map called Surface, and it has a, like the intro kind of sounds like it, and I got inspired from that. It's like very atmospheric. Also, the soundtrack is incredible. It's like all like some really atmospheric beats and stuff. It was very ahead of its time. Um, so yeah, I was like, I basically made a few sounds, and then I was like, oh, that sounds like Surface, and then I put Surface, not Surface, sorry, that sounds like, yeah, that sounds like the soundtrack of Surface, the map, and then I put that soundtrack on, and I listened a bit, and I was like, oh, so I could add this, and then it just, I kept adding stuff from the soundtrack to the actual track, kind of. That's why the intro is like so atmospheric, and then the drop was kind of like, what can we get, what can we put in this drop so it hits as hard as possible with a trap beat underneath,
Mhm.
and that's at the time that's what I could think of, you know.
How did it feel when Surface completely took over the internet?
Yeah, it was an interesting feeling. I mean, yeah, it was very weird. I did not expect all of that. Now, all these years after, I understand that was like an anomaly. That's not supposed to happen. Like it's very rare that that happens. Um, it was just insane. Like people were coming up to me telling me, "Oh wow," like just then I got a manager. I got shows. I got so many things out of it. It was so crazy.
Okay, man. My next question is you have been through a tough phase in your life, right? For the past year, as you've mentioned before. What
Yeah,
would be your advice to producers? How can they take care of their mental health and balance their work life and personal life?
it's a
Just your
tough
advice.
one. It's a tough one. Yeah, just try to have a balance between what you have to do and what you want to do. That's in everything, in music, in life, in everything. Balance is really the key. It's hard, but that's the key. If you nail that, you just have to you have can should have some fun, but also work. Uh, you should eat some nice things, but also balance it out, not eat too much. Like all that, it just yeah. It's just I would say balance of everything in the end. Really gets your mental health to to be okay. Otherwise, it's a real struggle. That's what I would say.
My next question is what are some of the artists that have inspired your sound?
No, Skrillex, Tiesto, weirdly, but it is one of them. Um, a lot of the OG trap guys, Arl Grime, Vlastaras, Zomboy. I like Zomboy a lot. Knife Party, huge one because they're multi-genre too. If you include Pendulum, it's like They've done every genre, so it's like a big inspiration. I used to be obsessed with Knife Party. I love Knife Party. Um, that's it. Yeah.
Uh, my next question is, what are some of your favorite tracks that you would want your fans to hear or check out?
Like not mine, right? Some other people's.
No, some of your favorite tracks. No,
Oh,
not yours, of course, but what you like listening to
okay.
generally.
Some other people. Yeah. Actually, I went through a. I was going through some Spotify playlists yesterday or something. It was like all the dance hits from every year, like 2011 dance hits, 2015 dance hits, and I just kept going. Um, and it was pretty interesting. Like I would say, if we're talking EDM, it's very hard because I listen to a lot of stuff. Are we talking EDM or
Anything,
everything?
anything,
So like newer releases or just
whatever is your
any
favorite, anything. Like some of your
anything?
absolute favorite tracks.
Hmm. It's kind of it's a tough question. I would say I mean I like hip hop a lot. I love rap and hip hop. I do listen to a lot of Drake. It's Yeah, I listen to Kendrick too, but I love Kendrick too. He's really good, but Drake has just too many hits. Future is the goat for me. Just you know, it's just very controversial, but I love Future. Like he just dropped a mixtape and it's incredible. I love it. Instant classics. I don't know, just a lot of hip hop. A lot of hip hop. Like 2010 hits, 2016 hits, 2018 hits. Just hip hop.
Any track that stands out the most to you, like any track that might be your absolute favorite.
It's just so many. I'll just stick with Future since I mentioned it. So Future has this track called "Surfing a Tsunami" in his new album. It's incredible. It's like the most creative beat I've ever heard in my life. It's just like it's so melodic and beautiful. It's like Future bass. That's funny. Future bass, but like it's with Future's voice on top. I don't know how they made that song. It's unbelievable. So I would say that's a Future, Surfing a Tsunami. And if you have time, listen to the whole mixtape. Pluto, what is it? Pluto something. I can remember, but yeah, it's unbelievable.
My next question is, what's the one piece of advice you would give to yourself when you were first starting out?
Uh, Tough one. Yeah, I would say that just understand that as you keep working, you'll be getting better, and that not everything has to be perfect from the get go. Like you can release a track that the mix is a bit off. Your next one is going to be better. Maybe the master is too loud on that one. Next one, you're going to fix it. Just accept that you'll release stuff that's not 100%, but it's like 90%, and then the next one is going to be 91%, then 92%, then eventually you get to that 99%. There's always that 1% where it's like even if you're the best in the world, like there's always just maybe something 1% you're like, oh, that need a half decibel lower or whatever. Just mix down things mostly. Yeah.
Um, One last question I have. Is there any known fact about you that you keep to yourself, but the world doesn't know? Since this podcast is going to tell everyone. So, any unknown thing about you that you'd like to share that
There's
only you
two.
know?
Only I know. Huh?
Mhm.
Hmm. Well, there's two. I can't think of anything that only I know because I really put myself out there. But I guess there's two things that are very interesting. One is that I love cats, and I didn't used to like cats, but now I love cats. Um, and I have a Hello Kitty tattoo.
Oh, that is really good, man. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last thing that I have, is there any particular message that you would like to share to all the fans who are listening to this podcast?
Mm, don't stop listening to music like I did. I actually, like, when I was at my worst last year, I didn't even listen to music anymore. And I, like, even listening to music, I couldn't do it. Like, just don't stop listening to music. Music can really help you. Just need to find the right songs. Don't quit music. Like, you'll see some like 50-year-old guys or 60, and they just don't listen to music at all. And you're like, you're missing out on so much of life, you know? So yeah, don't quit music basically. And yeah, listen to my my new album. Listen to Wicked Chords, 21 new tracks. None of them sound like Surface.
You all guys heard the guy. Everyone go check out the album Wicked Chords. It is out on Spotify and it's got some serious ass bangers in there. It is one hell of a sonic ride and you surely sure do not want to miss this one. So, with that being said, that is the end of this podcast. Thank you so much for sitting down with us, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning into this podcast. Make sure to give this podcast a 5-star rating if you are listening on Spotify or Apple Music, and like and share and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Until then, keep grinding, keep working, keep producing, and above all, don't tell anyone. Bye.
Peace.